and welcome to another video from the Independent Vlogger. Now, you've probably seen the new cover photo in front of the homepage there. Douglas worked very hard behind the scenes over the weekend to get that picture up. So big thumbs up to Douglas, who works behind the scenes putting the uploads together. So well done, Douglas. Now in today's video we'll be exploring the footpath from Penicuik to Dalkeith and on to Musselburgh. There's the old railway line that's very popular with dog walkers, and we'll explore parts of that over the next few weeks. Now today's one is part 1 from the old Penicuik station as far as the turn off at Ladywood. So if you want to know what that looks like, then keep watching. Now here we are in Bridge Street, Penicuik, and here is the bridge that the street is named after. Now, the bridge was built in 1862 by Thomas Telford. Now you'll notice that this part of the bridge looks slightly different to the rest of it. That was because in around about 1950 a lorry crashed through the bridge and all the way down to the bottom. The driver had to swim to safety. Now we'll have a look at these houses over here. There's something interesting about these houses. So the houses that you can see there were once part of the railway station in Penicuik. That's where the station was. We'll go down and have a closer look. So that's where we were up there, and the houses that we're looking at is behind us. Now through that tunnel is where the trains used to be stored overnight, so where the Happy Castle is and some of the other sheds, that is where they were kept. So imagine the steam train billowing through the tunnel and arriving here for the station. We'll continue along on the walkway all the way out to Musselburgh in different stages, not all at once. Some nice things to see. So here's a map of some of the things to look out for along the Penicuik to Dalkeith walkway, which continues on to Musselburgh. There is a very nice viaduct to look out for. You pass near Roslin and Rosewell to Bonnyrigg, Eskbank and up to Dalkeith. There it continues on to Musselburgh. Some information about the Penicuik Railway Company and some of the wildlife that we see as well. And the paper making, of course, you can't forget that. So I'll go and have a look at the duck pond and see if there's anything going on there. Here we are, Penicuik to Dalkeith walkway, Valleyfield Pond. No shooting or cycling. And some information about what you can see in the duck pond. Ducks, funnily enough. And it shows the different kinds of ducks and animals that you see in the pond. Last time I was here there was some tufted ducks, so I'll have a look at those. Here we are at the duck pond with a pair of ducks. Now the tufted ducks that I mentioned, there's a family of them who live in the corner over there. Whether we'll see them today or not, we'll have to see. But for once, a bit of wildlife appears in one of my videos. you look closely, you might see some fish. And see how deep it is by looking at the reeds. Looks like the duck over here is having a rest in the reeds. There's some nice big trees here. And there's a sparrow singing to another sparrow. Fairly big pond. So we're at the other side of the duck pond now. I think that's the sound of a blue tit whistling away. Now sometimes you can see fish swimming about. Now, I don't see any today. Now, here we have the River Esk, and where there was rivers, there was paper mills. And Penicuik is known as the paper making town. And there was one here. This plaque is attached to the remnant of the Low Mill, which formed part of the Valleyfield Mill complex. Paper making started in the vicinity in 1709. It's a long time ago. The mill was acquired by Charles Cowan in 1779 and stayed as a family paper making business until shortly the Valleyfield mills were closed in 1975. Buildings were demolished in the late 70s. Associated reclamation and environmental improvements, which were funded by Lothian and Edinburgh Enterprise Limited in 1994. Now the mill in Auchendinney, that stayed open till 2004, around about then, and you'll see, we'll pass by where that was later on. It was a sad end to the industry because it was passed down through generations. Now let's have a look at this river. Some nice bits to see along here. It's quite fast flowing at this point. There's been a lot of recent rains, so it's rather deep. Big waterfall there. Here fishy, fishy, fishy. Here fishy, fishy. Here fishy, fishy. Oh well, the fish aren't coming. I'll just have to have chips by themselves tonight. Now we've come to a nicer part now. And you'll see that on the north side of a tree, or the bark of a tree, you'll always see moss. Or more moss on the north side of the tree than on the south side of a tree. That's because the north side is always wetter and moss grows in colder, wetter conditions than in warmer conditions. So if you're ever lost in a forest, always remember that the thickest moss is on the north side. And then once you know that, you'll be able to find your way about easier. These trees are very tall. Now you'll see in a little embankment down there, that's where the railway line was. Trains went through that bit. There's the river here, and then another walk up that way. You have to be quite agile going that way, it's rather steep. And there's yet another walk up there. That's where most walkers go, up that way. This walk and that walk are less well known. There's a big tree here having a drink. I don't know if there's any fish in there today. Can't see any. Now here we are at Esk Bridge, and there's the remains of the platform, Esk Bridge station platform. The trains had to stop here. Some information here about the paper making in Penicuik, and when the first paper mill was established, 1779, who done it. All little bits of information and a map of where they were. So if that interests you, come and have a look. It's flowing very fast here. Very fast indeed. It's the fastest I've seen it for a while, but it's not the fastest I've ever seen it. Now right here there used to be a brick making factory. Bricks were made and were sent all over the UK. It was closed down in 1995. It brought a lot of business to the area. But now it's just another housing estate. So this part of the walkway is where the trains ran. So just think, trains running backwards and forwards here around 50 years ago. And once again, some nice big trees. You can see here the big wall, and it gets higher and higher. It's to stop the land sliding onto the old railway line. Also keeps the walkway clear. Now here we are at the Valleyfield and Eskmill Nature Trail with different animals and insects to look out for as you walk along. Kingfishers, I've never seen a kingfisher along here, but woodpeckers, I've heard woodpeckers, but a bit further along, so listen out for them as we continue along our walkway. And we have an old level crossing gate, a preserved one. You'll see what this blue sign says. Auchendinny, 1.25 miles, Rosewell 3.5, and Dalkeith 8. That way. Now this little tunnel that we're about to walk under is the road that goes up to Auchendinny. The B road that goes from Penicuik up to the Lone Stone and Auchendinny road. The B road. I'll have a look at some of the brickwork. This is the first of 3 tunnels. The size of those big bricks, and fitted together very nicely. Imagine a train coming through here and the whistle would whoop whoop, and the smoke would be billowing out of the steam. Now if you were to come to this part early in the morning and late evening, night time, you'll see some deer here. But we don't see any deer today. Oh dear. Ah, yeah. So I'll keep looking. but more likely the deer will see us before we see it, and it'll be away. Well, these leaves have got holes in them. Must be snails. Well, at least they're eating their greens. You see a bit more of the River Esk. Now, sometimes the Esk goes along the footpath and other times it's further away. So the footpath goes up that way and that way. At this point the river goes underneath. Yeah, and other times it's along beside. And also right here to the right is the sewage works. Rather controversial, but it needs to be there. If it didn't have that, then we would be in a lot of danger. Now I just happened to look across and I saw something what looked like a hawk fly into that tree. Now that white building over there it is. Did you see that? Ah, I caught a hawk on camera. I think it was a hawk. No, that's Silver Witch boarding kennels, so that's the dogs that you can hear barking. Now, whatever that was, it was definitely a bird of prey of some kind. Yeah, so Silver Witch boarding kennel, if you go on holiday and you've got a dog, you can stick your dog in there. Imagine 56 years ago, walking along here, you'd have to jump out the way of a passing train. Up in those trees, you can just hear it as a magpie, making its distinctive call. It's giving a warning call that there's an intruder somewhere. And it's in a red coat with blue shoes, and it's telling all the other magpies. Nice bit through there that you can go fishing. Let's have a look at that bit. It was just there. It's flown away. Right, let's have a look down here. Saw a squirrel. It's that fast. A lot of people don't like squirrels. They say it's rats with tails. But rats do have tails. That's a tale to tell, a tail and a half. Right. So this is a good spot for fishing. And there's another nice bit further up too. There's a leaf getting carried away. It's enjoying itself that much, it's getting carried away. A lot of barking coming from the kennels. They're having a rough day. So we're going to end part 1 here. Part 2 coming soon. Stay tuned. So, how did you enjoy that then? Did you enjoy seeing that hawk? And I wasn't expecting to see that. So that was something good to see, and finally got some wildlife in one of my videos. So part 2 coming soon, and look out for a big viaduct that you maybe never knew existed. Now head across to the Family Fun Pack channel to see how they got on with a recent visit to Texas. And this Texas isn't the wallpaper shop, no, it's something different. It's the American state. So until next time, that's Paul for now.